Hello my friends and welcome. We have the new update from the front lines. It seems like Ukrainian army liberated Klishchiivka. Well, still here you may see so-called gray area where the fighting still continues, but it's just a tiny little part compared to the whole village. Ukraine also continued to push on the northern part from that village, and Russia is on a counterattack. We have the information that they sent more reinforcements to withstand this land. However, it was done too late by Russians, and from other information, this bridge over here across this river was blown up by Ukrainian forces, so Russians actually trapped in this area. Here you can see this exact bridge that was kaboomed long time ago, I would say, with the help of the HIMARS. You may see the classical trace that the HIMARS rockets made over there, but Russia used their self-made bridge to transport their vehicles, but the vehicles were targeted, then they crossed this small river. So they're unable for now to move more vehicles because the way is blocked by those two armored vehicles. But Russia continued to shell the Ukrainian positions in Klishchiivka, which is not good. We have our infantry forces already deployed over there, and they don't need to stop, they need to continue the assault. Probably we need to remove those vehicles to proceed across the river and follow the Russian retreating forces. So some of the Russian forces may still be in this direction and also over here, but the fighting is continuing, and here we have the question mark of who is controlling this territory. Russia still has the opportunity to cross the river with infantry forces retreating from this bank of the river. The river itself, as you saw, is kind of shallow, but still it's the natural obstacle for the tanks and armored vehicles. Not all of them are capable to cross it. And here we already have the Opetne and the Bakhmut city nearby. By the way, Ukraine also uses the artillery systems to target the Russian positions, and UAVs are flying just over the Bakhmut now. The heavy fighting continues, and some of the videos I'll publish on my Telegram channel filmed on cameras of our soldiers deployed in this place. Alright, now let's go to the south to Robotyne village. Ukrainian army expands the bridgehead in this area. Let's go for the timeline. It was yesterday and it is today. We have one main vector right now towards Verbova village. Now the Ukrainian army is around half a mile away from the border of the village. Before it was reported that Ukrainian army went to Verbova village, but those reports were incorrect. From what I was able to understand analyzing the frontline videos, our guys also moved towards Novoprokopivka today, so the Russian counterattack didn't work for them. By the way, we have the other resource, ISW, confirming that information. So Robotyne, as you know, was fully liberated, but Russia still has the defense line on the south from this village, and today that defense was penetrated by Ukrainian assaulting brigades, and there is the free way now to go to Novoprokopivka. Just the side defense is active still for Russia. Why I was kind of confused because of the situation in Verbova. Our guys actually around 4 days ago went on a march to the village and were forced to retreat. That is why we got the information that Russian forces and Ukrainians are fighting in Verbova, and some of the video confirmations were presented. But later it appeared that Ukrainian army retreated back. It was the small assault group of the Ukrainian forces. They did some surveillance, they demolished the Russian positions and went back. And now it's up to the big Ukrainian force to try the assault on Verbova village. We need it because here are the Russian defense everywhere and we need to go through them. The main defense lines has already been penetrated in this small part of the front lines. Now it is time to go back and attack the same defense from behind and also increase the push from this side. That's why we may cause the chaos in the Russian defense near to Verbova village. So far we see just the ground gain from the Ukrainian army, but it is actually a very risky situation for Ukraine because we expand mostly on 7 kilometers of its front line and Russia still controls the sides, so if they concentrate enough forces they may go and counterattack Ukrainian positions from 2 of the sides. That's why it's very important for Ukrainian army to expand this bridgehead, and that's what our guys are doing right now by attacking towards Verbove. On the east, however, we cannot do it because Russia still has the defense over here, so Ukrainian army will just go to Novoprokopivka, I think. As for the front lines report, we have the confirmation that Russia is using the aviation bombs and artillery on Ukrainian positions, which are now attacking Verbove village, trying to take it back under control. So those images were published by our enemy. Based on the data analysis by some of the military experts, they claim that Ukrainian army is very close to Verbove right now. But as you know, deep state military map usually keeps the situation as the secret for a couple of days and then they update it. So I would trust this one more because I know that Ukraine now goes with more forces towards Verbove and now they're very successful over there, even though Russia uses artillery and other stuff. But Ukraine actually conquers the Russian artillery because we have the counter-artillery radars that Russia doesn't have. For example, this Russian artillery system was targeted not far away from Verbove village with the help of the very precise HIMARS rocket. The similar stuff goes for the Russian Msta-S system. It was kaboomed with the help of Ukrainian artillery systems. And not just the single Msta-S Russian artillery system, this one was also targeted probably with the help of the drone, and it was the big kaboom. Those are the Russian defense lines on the northeast side from Robotyne that were used to stop the Ukrainian army attacks. Those didn't work as planned, but Ukraine was able to penetrate those just during the fourth attempt of assault. So we also had losses because Russia constructed many of those. Here we are not just speaking about the main Surovikin line or the second Surovikin line. Russia has many of those trenches around the warfield, plus tons of the mines. As you can see, even concrete was used to create some sort of the shelter against the artillery or the drone attack. So it was very hard for our guys to break through, but finally we did it, causing the Russian army to retreat. So this is the part of the Robotyne village, and here are those defense lines. They were a little aside, and as you can see, it's not a straight line. They have some curves over here and over here, making the defense successful. And from the ground you may see how many of the artillery shells the Ukrainian army used to get rid of the Russian army over there. Ukraine sent more reinforcements to Robotyne, to the south front lines, as it was reported, but I guess we're speaking about the main hotspot near to Verbove and Robotyne. Some of the soldiers filmed many of the Bradleys. The Oshkosh armored vehicle was upgraded with that demining device, the plug on the front. I wonder if it is DIY or it is some sort of the modification that is the stock on that vehicle. An interesting upgrade, but I think that this vehicle shouldn't be used as the front one during the first attempts to break through the Russian defense. So it may potentially clear the way for the light armored vehicles behind it, if we are speaking about the maneuverable attacks after the break through the Russian main defense lines, which should be made with the help of the tanks. Today, not just Ukraine moves forward, but Russia also gained some of the territory near to Marinka. So it was yesterday and it is today. This difference, they took a couple of the quarters of this town. The fight for Marinka goes for more than a year. It is very close to the old border of the self-proclaimed DPR. Yes, 1 year and a half already, because Russia started the attack towards the town at the very beginning of this war, and still they are unable to take it under control fully. All of the households in that area were totally demolished. The Russian volunteers who fight for Ukrainian side went on the Russian-controlled territory today to the Bryansk Oblast. As you can see, the group was small, just 6 people, but they managed to perform some sort of the sabotage missions, as they claim. They moved out from the Russian territory the same day, and they left some of the goods behind, some of the equipment, let's say grenades and those launchers. It's been a while since the last time we saw that advancement of the Russian sabotage groups towards the Russian territories. The aim of those missions is simple: to destabilize the territory of the Russian Federation, causing the Russian army to send more forces to protect their own land rather than sending those to Ukraine. With the help of the Russian journalists and satellite images, we were able to identify the positions of the Russian air defense systems, and they are very close to the Putin residence in the Moscow region. This information will help Ukrainian forces to plan the new drone attacks on the Russian territory. So thank you, Russian journalists, for providing the detailed information about your air defense. I got the questions about the Russian helicopter pilot who decided to give up the helicopter and himself to Ukraine. So some say that he is the fake person, but actually it is not like that. He is the real Russian helicopter pilot. We already know his name. It is published on my Telegram channel, and definitely there was shooting upon his landing. The helicopter sustained some of the damages even. The Russian side has already confirmed that he is their pilot. Yet we are out of the main details about this gunfire. What we know now that he is not detained, he is not imprisoned, he is the free man in Ukraine. Probably he'll obtain some of the papers and he will go to other country, who knows. He confirmed, by the way, that he'll get $500,000. But analyzing his social media accounts, his interview, I would say that probably he wanted to get the money and he wanted to escape from the Russian dictatorship. So the Russian helicopter was his golden ticket, let's say. I mean, it's not bad. It's the aim for Ukraine to get the Russian airplanes, vehicles, tanks, whatever. I just think that I overestimated this guy a little. He still did a great job, and the great job also was done by the Ukrainian intelligence, and they organized this operation. It was brilliantly planned and well done, executed. Finally, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, went to the Russian Federation, the Sochi city, as it was planned. They discussed many of the issues, but Putin refused to renew the grain deal or the Russian membership in that deal. But we know that already 4 of the vessels did it from the Odessa port to Turkey port. I watched their press conference after the meeting, so what can I say? Based on the public information, this meeting was just for the meeting itself. Maybe there were some of the agreements behind the curtains that we are not aware of. After the meeting, there was the information from Ukrainian's foreign minister that Erdogan will have the conversation with President Zelensky by phone. That's all. If something is happening, it is happening out of the public press. Russia lost one more attack helicopter K-52 in the Black Sea. Probably it was attacked by the Ukrainian manned pilots that our guys continue to carry on the boat. There is some fighting near to the oil platforms in the Black Sea. Those platforms are controlled now by Ukrainian army. Russia uses aviation to target our boats, but our boats have manpads, so they sometimes target the Russian aviation. The last night, Russia launched one more drone attack on Ukrainian territory. 70% of the drones were shot down by the Ukrainian defense, but some of them went into the Ukrainian civilian infrastructure and to the grain houses where the grain is stored. Plus, 2 of the drones went and targeted the Romanian territory. The Romanian Defense Ministry said that nothing special was targeted over there, kind of firm response by the NATO member country. Chancellor Scholz and his new style, he got this trauma while jogging. As some of the German officials say, Scholz is the only person who is blocking the delivery of the Taurus cruise missiles, which are crucial for Ukrainian army. Bundestag and Bundeswehr support the delivery, but he is against it. Finally, I think that those missiles will be supplied to Ukraine. He has probably the bad karma about it. Of course, the internet community posted lots of the memes with Chancellor Scholz and his eye. Lots and lots of them. The Russian general Armageddon, so Surovikin, was spotted with his wife today. It is hard to say where this picture was taken, maybe on the property of Surovikin himself, because he might be still detained but in his own house. Okay, Russia publishes the video how they attack the Ukrainian UAV from their attack helicopter. So they continue to shoot for a very long time before finally they hit this drone. The drone doesn't look like the Bayraktar, but looks like the small general aviation airplane like Cessna something like that. But indeed, it is the drone. And indeed, the Russian helicopter is not able to aim very precisely. The distance is very close. The range and all of the flight instruments are blurred, but from the camera we may see that it's not really that far away, but still Russia misses. However, at the very end, they target this airplane or whatever it is. But again, where is the precision of this cannon? They continue to shoot for a very long time. On the Russian media resources, we have the same situation update near to Robotyne and Verbove, two of the vectors of a Ukrainian attack. Russia tries to repel them, but for now unsuccessfully. Ukrainian army moves ahead, but very slowly. Speaking about Verbove, our forces are located between the first and the second defense lines of the Russian Federation, so-called Surovikin lines. Then Russia built their defense. They spent 80% of their resources and time for the first line and just 20% for the second one. So theoretically, the penetration of the second defense line could be easier for Ukrainian army. However, as I say to you, there are some of the risks for Ukraine. The main one is coming from the possible Russian army encirclement of our forces over here from two of the sides, so we need to ensure that all of them are repelled further away from the front lines. This is photo of the order inside the Russian army to start the new mobilization on 11th of September this year. They want to take 200,000 more people to the Russian army. My friends, it could be fake. Mostly I saw it on the Ukrainian channels. It is hard to find the origin where this document was leaked at first. So I would say 50-50. It could be truthful information or not. Anyways, we'll see it very soon, because 200,000 soldiers is the large number, so Russia is unable to hide it. My friends, don't forget to press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my channel, you may check out the links in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and for the sponsors of this YouTube channel. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.